Blood Tax is a goofy version of repeating thrust that heals you every time you hit the opponent with it. So this gave me a terrible build idea. A Blood Tax based level 150 build that uses 0 red flasks and 0 healing incantations. A build where we heal over time and the enemy takes damage over time. Our main weapon for the run is the Keen Antspur Rapier, with the Blood Tax Ash of War on it. This weapon not only has a fast thrusting moveset and a cool build video on it, but rot buildup too. And because it is a Keen infusion, we can buff it with Black Flame via the Godslayer seal, giving us 2 health draining statuses at once. And on top of this, we can also soft swap to the Black Knife, a weapon with an incredibly cool Ash of War that inflicts destined death. This reduces the max HP of any enemy and gives us a 3rd damage over time option. Stack all of these on top of each other and you can watch the boss health bar steadily recede from right to left. Now that we know how to damage our enemies, we need to be able to heal ourselves. On top of Blood Tax, we can use the Crimson Burst Crystal Tier that heals us steadily over time, and the Opaline Bubble Tier to heavily negate damage from a single hit. The Icon Shield and the Blessed Dew Talisman can heal us passively over time. The Icon Shield will heal you 3 HP per second, even if it is in your offhand, and with unmet stat requirements. We also have the Godskin Swaddling Cloth to restore our HP on successive hits, to encourage us to stay nice and aggressive. Our stats for the build are nice and simple. We need 60 Vigor and 40 Endurance to be healthy and armored enough to take a few hits. Since we can't just fall back and heal with a red flask, we have to wait for the opportunity to use Blood Tax and Life Steal from the boss. And to use our Antspur Rapier and the Godslayer seal, we're gonna need 60 Dex and 27 Faith. This build is quite interesting, but probably the hardest to use out of the ones I've done before. I can consistently first try any boss in this game with a decent build, but this character really forced me out of my comfort zone, especially it being on New Game Plus 4. I feel like forcing myself into a more exacting yet aggressive playstyle forced me to get even better at a game I've already played through many times. And I recommend that everyone else make the decision to try a new and/or more difficult build every once in a while. It brings me back to, of course you guessed it, freshman year, when all my classes were really easy starting out. I was perfectly fine with coasting through all my classes because it was so darn easy. But when a mandatory yet difficult class came along, I didn't have the necessary skills to learn how to study and learn all that new material. It was a bit of a skill issue, if you will, and my grade reflected that. Now, contrast that with senior year, where I went out of my way to take a difficult fluid dynamics class. When the more difficult path was my decision, I was more prepared for all the obstacles that would be in my way, and I aced that class, despite it being one of the most difficult electives you could take. And I know I'm much better off taking that class instead of coasting through the end of school. Oh yeah, and my last 3 talismans are going to be the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia to get more damage on successive hits, and the Green Turtle Talisman with the Dragon Crest Great Shield.